see if the memory address that we have for boss energy matches this boss. So let's watch what happens. Well, that's unexpected now, isn't it? Apparently the programming states inside the game itself that the boss has to stay there until his health reaches a maximum value. So if we lock the boss's HP to 0, it's never going to continue. It's never going to move on from this point. So we have to disable this code to allow his memory to go up. So we know that the boss's HP is in fact universal through the entire game. So we'll just go back. Now, with this emulator, I can actually change this code to something called an if-then statement. I'm not going to go through it because not all emulators support it, and I really just read the README file to your emulator. But basically, I can make two codes. The first code would say, when this memory address is equal to decimal value 28, then go to the next code. And then the next code would say that the memory address C61 is equal to 0, or set it to 0. So we're just going to re-enable this. Do it the easy way. Kick his ass. Do a little bit of fast forwarding. I know you guys hate to wait. Okay, and we'll go to the next stage. So, is it safe to assume that since the boss energy is the same, the address for the weapon energy is the same? I don't know. Let's find out. We'll get the game loaded up. We'll go to our Metal Man weapon. We'll start our search. Use a little bit of the weapon and do our usual routine. Wow, down to 3 values already. Okay, we've only got one possible. Alright, so it's A2. Well, knowing that the game is sequential, or assuming that the game is sequential because of the HP is 6C0, the boss's energy is 6C1, and that the memory tank is at A7, and the Metal Man is at A2. I'm going to enable this, and we're going to edit this to the possible maximum value, 1C. So, okay, so Woodman is at 9E, and the tanks are at A7, and the Metal Man is at A2. So somewhere between 9E and A7, there's a whole range of values that do only God knows what. And that would be the whole point of going around and exploring the rest of the values. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and bore you with me sitting here punching in all these memory values for like the next 10 minutes. So basically, all I really wanted to prove was that in a lot of games, the memory addresses are indeed sequential, and in fact, that even if they are sequential, that the actual value can also determine the strength of your weapon, like we saw with Legend of Zelda. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and pause it over here, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to punch in some more memory addresses that I'm going to assume that are for the other weapons and other things. You can go ahead on your emulator and do the same thing. You'll get the same results as me, but I don't know, at least you can say you tried it. I'm going to go ahead and spoil the fun for you guys. I'm going to show you two really key memory addresses that, you know, when I found them, they made me ecstatic because it just showed me that how the game was actually put together. Here's a memory address, okay? 009A. This is the memory value for what weapons you actually have. Right now, it's at value 1. And if we go into the game and you take a look, I've only got the Heatman weapon. Okay? And if you noticed, I don't have infinite energy, so we're not gonna sit here and just keep firing the weapons, because we can use this code to find the rest of the weapons. Or the memory address for how much energy you have left in a weapon. So we'll edit the code to say 2. Now we have Airman. That's all we have. We don't have Heatman and Airman. So memory value 1 is Heatman. Memory value 2 is Airman. So we're going to go to our cheat codes. We're going to go back to the memory address. We're going to make it 3. Now look at that. It's Heatman and Airman. So, memory address 4, what would it be? Or value 4 for this memory address, what would it be? Woodman. Okay, so wouldn't you assume that memory address 4, 5, and 6 would add another one? Well, that would be incorrect, because you have to remember, you can play this game in any order of bosses that you want, in any order of stages. So there has to be an individual value for every combination of weapons. I hope you understand what that means. If you don't understand, I'll try to put some show notes about Boolean and how Boolean and logic will apply to this. So if you really are confused about this, go to the show notes. I'll try to explain on the show notes. So we'll go to the cheat codes. With what I know about Boolean and the way memory and logic works, right now the current value is 4. And if we set this to 5, it should be Heatman as well as Woodman. I believe. I could be wrong. Heatman and Woodman. But you have to remember that this is just the memory address just to enable the weapons. So if you really want to be a bastard, just go ahead and FF. You have every single weapon. But look at that. We have a small missing gap. Now, if you played the game, you understand you're supposed to have 3 special items that you gain after defeating certain bosses. And I'll spoil it for you a little bit. 9A, right? So we'll add a new code. Let's see, 009B, I believe it is 0001. There we go. This memory address 9B is in sequence to 9A. So 9A are what weapons you have. 9B are what items you have. And there's item 1. There's item 2. What happened? We're supposed to have item 3. No. According to Boolean algebra, we have items 1 and 2. Now we're going to go to the next memory value, value 4. This will give us item 3. There's item 3. We'll go to the next memory value. Can we guess what's going to happen? 1 and 3. Now what happens when we go to the next memory value? 2 and 3. And when we go to the next one, whoop, went a little too far, getting ahead of myself. Exciting stuff. When we go to memory value 7, keeping in mind this is an 8-bit system. That might mean something to you. I hope when I said that, something in your head clicked. If it didn't, screw you. 3. Something in your head should have clicked about it being an 8-bit system. Look, now we have items 1, 2, and 3 because of that memory address. Now let's see what happens when we go to the next value. Everything disappears because we just exceeded its maximum value. Huzzah. So we're going to go set this back to 7. Whoop. Forgot to save it. Pressed the wrong button. There we go. So now we have the memory addresses for all of the weapons. Now all you'd have to do is sit here through every single weapon and systematically, you'd have to systematically go through all of the memory addresses from 09C all the way up to 00A8 to get all of the energy. Actually, the energy is 009C all the way up to memory address 00A3. Those are the actual energy addresses. You go ahead and, if you want to, punch those in. I'll put all the links and whatnot and some good stuff on the show notes. And I'm really hoping to see an activity of people actually going into these NES ROMs and posting what you find. Let me know what you find, people. I'll post the stuff that I've found so far. And hopefully within the next installment of this segment, we'll get into something a little bit more impressive than just poking around your energy, poking around, your weapons, and do something a little bit more interesting. So for now, I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you think. Hit the show notes, give me your opinions.